I'm Erin Kanagy-Loux. I'm a pastry chef in New York City. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get your molds ready or your cake pans ready. I'm using a rectangular loaf mold that has holes in the bottom, so I just lined it with a little bit of aluminum foil. But you just want to spray it really well with either some form of spray oil, or you can butter it, but it definitely needs to be greased. Chocolate mousse cake is a cake that kind of came and fell out of an accident or just an overabundance. I just made way too much mousse and I didn't want to waste it, so I dehydrated some and just to see what would happen. And it was a really great way to utilize excess mousse instead of throwing it away. So in the bowl I have both chocolates melted. You can melt this either in a microwave if you have one, or if you're doing a really large batch, you can melt it over a double boiler. You're going to heat up your kefir, or again, if you have a plant-based product, you can heat this up with a little bit of acidulated water, a little bit of lemon juice, a little vinegar. That'll cause it to separate. When you heat it up, it will separate more. Don't worry about it. I was born in Fukuoka, Japan, and moved to the States when I was 1. I got started in pastry when I was really young. I loved always cooking with my dad and my grandmother, and I come from a Pennsylvania Dutch background, and so we did a lot of baking together. And I just remember being like 3 or 4 and being allowed to roll out pie dough, and pie became one of my favorite things to eat and to make. And from there, I just found myself sitting in university thinking about the fact that I'd rather be at work, and ended up in New York City and opening a couple different businesses and really, working really hard to enjoy what I love doing. So we're going to whisk our cocoa powder in and make sure that it gets fully incorporated. And lastly, we're going to add the yuzu juice into our chocolate base. It should look nice and smooth. All right, so set your chocolate base off to the side, and we're going to start whipping our whole eggs. So when I tried the 68 Fruity, it's one of my favorite chocolates that TCHO makes, #1. But it also started singing to me in the sense that, yuzu is a very lovely citrus in the sense that it's not as sour as maybe your standard lemon, but it's also a bit more aromatic, so you get a lot more floral notes to it. And I thought that the 68 Fruity as mixed with the yuzu would be a really great pairing. It's a very in between, it's very chocolate forward, and it has a lot of good balance in terms of the sweetness, but it's not overly sweet in the sense that it takes away from the chocolate, and it's not overly bitter to take away from the chocolate. It's very well rounded. You're gonna get your egg whites, and then we're gonna begin sprinkling in the sugar. So your meringue will hold its shape, but then fall over. That's what we're looking for. We're gonna begin folding in our meringue into our base in 3 parts. And that first portion that we're gonna add is gonna be the sacrifice that'll get slightly deflated. And then back to folding in thirds. Second addition. Okay, once you have all your whipped cream folded into the base, we're ready to go right into the molds and then into the oven. You're gonna first start with cold water and your powdered gelatin. And then we have our partially melted chocolate. So you're gonna pour your dairy over top. It's kind of like making a ganache. So on the Yuzu Chocolate mousse, I'm putting a milk chocolate Cremeux, or like creamy. It's basically kind of like a more rich pudding and a less aerated whipped cream kind of combination. I first fell in love with TCHO when I tried their 39% milk chocolate. I had never had a milk chocolate that tasted so chocolatey. This combination was very much meant to go with the TCHO 68 and the TCHO 39 and their 54. The yuzu, it just sings with all that. So this is my Yuzu Chocolate mousse cake using TCHO chocolates. This could be a really fun thing to make for Mother's Day, or if you needed to surprise somebody and just say thank you, or just do something nice for somebody. Enjoy.